the ADEMU project, it deals with overall structural issues, but it also deals with very specific areas of policy, like fiscal unions, unemployment policy, stability mechanisms, banking union. So it has something to say. It's an incredibly diverse research program that is really focused on all the relevant policy issues that are all going to have to be addressed or dealt with, whatever path the European Union takes going forward.
Well, I think it's clear that Europe is at a crossroad. There are many questions being open, and I think the impact of ADEMU is to bring in some of the best researchers and a large group of researchers into the discussion, focusing on these issues.
One of the largest member states of the European Union has decided to leave the EU. So clearly the state of the Union is not strong, and that calls for important reforms in the structure of the European Union more generally, and certainly economic and monetary union specifically.
I think there's relatively broad consensus about the fact that the current rules that we have, the institutional mechanisms that we have, are really not delivering. They're not living up to the expectations because the rules are far too complex. They're very complicated to enforce in practice, and they require a lot of discretion.
Whenever you think about fiscal issues, which means putting money together, you need to have the trust to do that, right? And that is what I think is really the key aspect, which is now in front of us in Europe. We need to understand more why we are together. As in friendship and love stories, you pool the resources when you really trust the others, and you really are certain of the reasons why you are together. And this is why I think that the next steps is first of all political, but even more than political is cultural. What makes people in Europe together? What makes Italian and Finnish and German together? And I do think personally, due to my experience of living outside of Europe for so long, that you do understand the uniqueness of Europe from outside more than from inside. So nowadays we see a lot of problems because the member states just talk to each other as a family fighting without realizing how the world outside of it is evolving.
We bring in together really policymakers who are involved into the design of debt issues like in the ESM or the IMF. It's also because not only we have economists, but we also have some political science and lawyers. So it's also a good way to think more how to think of not only about good models that we can put them in the computer and something, but also how those things we make them feasible, implementable, even legally.
Well, ADEMU actually provides very informative context for thinking about policy proposals that are put forward, and it can ask questions that policymakers don't usually ask, like what are the welfare consequences? In other words, how much will individual countries or the Union as a whole benefit from restructuring the way we do, let's say, unemployment insurance, or how we use the European stability mechanism. But it can directly address these relevant policy issues and provide insights into what are better ways to achieve our goals in Europe.
I think has been a very, very significant movement in producing knowledge on these issues that are relevant for Europe today.
It's true that it's always better to have it at the same time together. That's union always is like a self-enforcing thing, that it's good that we do things together. Cannot be just a la carte.
Well, I very much hope that all the immense work that has been produced under ADEMU initiative will be helpful.
We are now out of the deepest part of the crisis, so we are on the rebuilding side. I think we have, especially on EMU, we have to cross the river and complete economic and monetary union. We have to do it in an analytically robust way, so very important for us at the European Commission as well.
What is needed now is to ensure that those who need to adopt decisions will receive the ideas or the proposals Obviously, most of them, the leaders, the political leaders, are not academic economists, but for sure, in the national governments and in the EU institutions, there are excellent economists who can translate into a political language the many initiatives that derive from the ADEMU work.